Countdown. I'm Lisa Lacera. At least one victim being transported from the Naval Academy at Annapolis by medevac with serious, potentially life-threatening wounds. That's according to a Naval Academy spokesman. One victim transported by medevac, multiple victims being assessed by EMS. This coming after a midshipman who had been kicked out of the school had returned to campus armed with a weapon. Multiple sources inside the Naval Academy tell Fox News. Once again, multiple victims being assessed by EMS. One has been medevaced after a gunman reportedly entered the U.S. Naval Academy at Annapolis. Reportedly, a midshipman who had been kicked out of the school and returned to campus armed with a weapon. Federal officials offering a $100,000 reward for information leading to the capture of the suspect in yesterday's fatal shooting of Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk while he was holding a campus event at a college in Utah.
The FBI is asking for the public's help in identifying a person of interest, releasing 2 photos of someone in a black long-sleeve shirt, hat, and sunglasses. 2 other people detained yesterday were questioned and released, determined they were not connected. Now, it's unclear if this new person of interest is the same person dressed in all black, spotted on the rooftop of a building at the time of the shooting, or if this is in fact the sniper who assassinated Kirk.
Fox's Matt Finn in Utah. Investigators have recovered a rifle they believe was used in the shooting, as well as a palm print and a shoe impression. President Trump says he's hopeful progress is being made in tracking down what he called the sniper. And he says he's been in touch with Charlie Kirk's family.
I spoke to Erica, his wife, and we had a long talk, and she's devastated. She's absolutely devastated, as you can imagine.
Today, Vice President Vance traveled to Utah to meet with Kirk's wife. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
It's not something he can just forget. I'm John Herrick. Here's what's trending this hour. A former NYPD chief who led New York's 911 center during 9/11 was in Indianapolis Thursday for a remembrance ceremony. Ryan Hedrick reports.
On the morning of September 11th, 2001, former NYPD Chief Chuck Dowd arrived at the city's 911 center where he oversaw communications.
First responders hate to fail.
At the gate, an officer told him that a small plane had hit the World Trade Center. He said he was concerned, but he had no idea of what was coming next.
The support that we got from public safety, not only from around the nation, but from around the world, lifted our morale.
Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Conservative political activist Charlie Kirk is gone, but Turning Point USA's Indiana president Jason Chambers says Kirk will never be forgotten.
He championed free speech, promoted family values, and most importantly, devoted his life to Christ. We've all thought of this scenario in our head. Will somebody in this day and age be assassinated over exercising our First Amendment right?
Kirk was supposed to speak at IU in Bloomington later this year. A candlelight vigil for Kirk will be held in Bloomington on Sunday. And there will be a coat drive at Fisher's Event Center to benefit Kids Coats Hamilton County this upcoming Tuesday from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. All sizes are needed. I'm John Herrick, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com. Now the forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Mostly clear for our Thursday night with lows falling into the upper 50s. Friday, we're going to continue the warm and dry sunny trend going through the end of the work week. Highest Friday afternoon look to be in the mid-80s. I'm Wish TV Storm Track ABD meteorologist Stephen Deanna for 93 WIBC.
Hi, I'm Dustin, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. I know finding a dream engagement ring can be overwhelming, but don't worry, we got you. As director of diamond sourcing, it's my job to make sure every single diamond at Shane Company is truly the best of the best. Our team travels the world to see diamonds up close, in person. We handpick each one for its unique fire, brilliance, and scintillation. Diamond buying is an art. Of course, we look at cut, color, clarity, and carat, known as the 4 C's. But that's not all. We also look at how each diamond looks on a hand, where it will be worn, how it makes you feel, and if it's worthy of a Shane Company customer. That type of expertise only comes from working for a company that's been a family business since 1929. We also think about your budget. We only pick the best in each grade in all shapes and sizes. Your diamond is guaranteed to be the most beautiful because a friend wants you to pick from only the best. Drop by your store or shaneco.com and see for yourself. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Nobody cares for you like family. Family Heating and Air.
Maintenance is going to drastically increase the efficiency and performance of your system. It's also going to significantly improve the longevity of it. People think that they are saving money by skipping their maintenance, and in reality, they're just shaving years off the life and increasing the consumption of that unit, spending a lot more in the long term.
Get your tune-up today at Family Heating and Air, your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Some things can steal your sunshine.
Ugh, I just got my hair done.
Sorry, the cooler's broken. Anyone see my flip-flops? Anyone?
But COVID-19 can steal a lot more.
I just took a COVID test. Ugh.
Prescription medications for COVID exist. If you test positive this summer, ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com/COVID-19 to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
All right, give me just a second, and there we go.
It's the Tony Kinnett Cast on 93 WIPC.
Good evening. Welcome to the Tony Kinnett Cast. Although I hate to say it's not particularly a good evening. Forgive the formalities there. I am on with Jerry Lopez out of Indianapolis. This show was not supposed to happen. I was supposed to be in Colorado today, but after the events yesterday regarding Charlie Kirk's assassination, canceled that trip. So Jerry Lopez is on the line with me because there's too much breaking news to really just go this one alone. So Jerry, thank you for being willing to spend a little bit of your guest hosting time here breaking some of these stories that are coming out of Annapolis and others right now.
Hey, I appreciate being on with you. I do want to send my condolences to you. I know you and Charlie were pretty close. I know he kind of stepped in with you when you dealt with your issue with the Indianapolis public school system. So to my thoughts and prayers with him and his family, and to those of people like you that were close to him.
Thank you. Out of the Naval Academy in Annapolis, we are currently informed, based on a series of posts from various news outlets and organizations, confirmed that the United States Naval Academy in Annapolis is currently on lockdown. This is according to Fox News, after a midshipman, the naval version of a cadet, who had been kicked out of the school, has returned to campus armed with a weapon. Multiple sources inside of the Naval Academy tell Lucas Tomlinson. Gunshots have been heard inside Bancroft Hall, which houses the midshipman. Right now, according to an open source intelligence monitor, one medevac is currently flying, a 19-year-old male with a wound that I'm not going to elaborate on, to a nearby hospital. That means he's in critical condition. There are currently 3 reported casualties. That is according to a couple of sources that I trust. In the event that that's different, we'll make sure to issue that correction. So that's all the information we have right now. Jerry, this is not the first school or the first shooting at a school this week, right?
No, we actually had one yesterday in Evergreen High School. So this is about 30 miles southwest of, I believe, of Denver.
In Colorado.
A student showed up yesterday around lunchtime with a handgun revolver, shot a couple students, and then in the end turned the gun on himself. The gunman died. The other 2 people survived. One is in critical condition. But that marks the 47th school shooting this year. That one happened at lunchtime yesterday, or 2 days ago.
There is a horrifying series of violence outbreaks in this country at this present time. We'll get into that in a minute. We do have a little bit more on the news that we have to continue pressing through because I only have the full radio audience for this first FCC segment. Right now, Radslaw Sikorski, and I'm sorry, I'm definitely pronouncing that name incorrectly. Producer Nick, this is the Deputy Prime Minister of Poland.
He serves as both Poland's Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister.
The Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister. So he's under Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk. He has stated after President Trump of the United States was asked on Thursday about the violation of Polish airspace by Russian drones. So not yesterday evening, but the prior evening, the Russian Federation had sent in at least 3 of its attack drones into Polish airspace, where combined NATO aircraft were able to take down those 3 drones. There's very little that we know about that, but the Deputy Prime Minister of Poland, Radosław Sikorski, has now said, no, that wasn't a mistake regarding the the drones that flew into Russian territory. Jerry, looking at the situation unfolding in the Middle East right now, it's a pretty bad time for picking a fight with Poland, given the kind of nationalist streak that's currently running through that country.
100%. But I think what people really need to pay attention to is Poland's a NATO country, right? So when it comes to NATO, Article 5 says an attack on one is an attack on all. And this is where the United States can get drug into this conflict. It's the reason we did not give Ukraine part of NATO when the first incursion with Russia happened, because we didn't want to be drugged into the war immediately. So if this actually is an attack on Poland and falls under Article 5, the U.S. will be forced to go in and support. And that's the part we need to pay attention to.
Yes, and I'm being told that I misspoke. Polish territory. The Russian drones entered Polish territory in the southwest. The southeast. Apologize. So right now what we're looking at appears to be rising tensions in Eastern Europe from the drones which were fired by Russia and then entered Polish airspace and were then shot down by NATO forces. This isn't the first time that the Russian Federation has flown some things nearby other airspaces. There were military operations, military training operations, which were previously scheduled with Belarus close to the Polish border, yet the Polish airspace was closed for a couple of hours on the eastern half of the country due to what they had described in kind of their alerts to the airports as unplanned military activity. Jerry, right now, I know that you're going to be taking the Indianapolis audience through this in just a bit here. The officials in the United States are focused entirely on the Charlie Kirk assassination and kind of their response to it. I know it's involved some reframing, some deflecting. Could I get a couple of your quick thoughts here before we do lose you to the FCC radio timer?
Yeah, definitely. So my thought is this one hits a little bit different for me, Tony. I mean, I don't condone assassinations of any type on anybody, regardless of political party. Unfortunately, our country has been accustomed to assassinations of politicians, unfortunately. We've had 2 attempts with Donald Trump, and we've kind of forgot about those, okay? This is a guy who is doing the same thing that you're doing right now, the same thing that I'm doing right now, just speaking his thoughts, opening to debate, in the most respectful way. And he was killed for that. And that should be very jarring to all of us. He was legitimately killed for exercising his First Amendment right. He didn't make policy. He doesn't create law. What he did was he scared the left because he was infusing a younger generation of college students to actually dissect and figure out the truth. And that's terrifying.
We're going to pick through. I've been doing a lot of tracking kind of how Generation Z, the very last of the millennials, Generation I Alpha behind Generation Z, has been reacting, of course, to Charlie Kirk's brutal assassination, as well as the reaction of those who have taken this as an opportunity to be truly inhuman. And we're going to be talking with Wade Stotts a little bit later about why this is such an important thing to keep an eye on, because right now a lot of the clips are from some of the older members of the Democrat Party, both officials in Congress, governors and state policyholders from around the country, and media individuals. But I don't think that's really where the focus needs to be, because the future of the United States rests a lot on how those under the age of 35 are reacting to serious political and crime events. Jer?
I mean, you couldn't be more right when it comes to that. We're desensitized, And to see, and listen, we've had everybody from lawmakers to restaurant owners to just regular people praising the death of Charlie Kirk. And what is, I mean, it doesn't get much more worse than that. This guy was a man, 31 years old, had 2 young kids, and by all accounts was open to an honest debate, right? So I'm tired of hearing we need to keep having a conversation because they just assassinated the guy that literally was going around trying to do that.
So right now, a bit of an update on the situation at Annapolis. Again, there is currently an active situation in which the United States Naval Academy in Annapolis is locked down due to an active shooter on the scene. We believe at the moment there are 3 casualties. At least 1 individual has been medevaced. 2 Maryland State Police medevac helicopters have just landed at the U.S. Naval Academy. Right now, the Maryland governor, that would be Wes Moore, says there is no active threat at this time. Jerry, we have to leave the radio crew. We know you're going to do a great job hosting the show there. This is the Tony Kinnett Cast here on the Daily Signal. We're going to continue on the live stream and send the radio crew to commercial. Radio side, you guys, take care.
You too.
Indy, don't use the beautiful fall to paint. Do what Deanna did. She called Rhino Shield.
I was noticing some cracks and the paint's faded. I was like, okay, I think I should get my house painted. So my neighbor had a Rhino Shield placard in the yard. And after they were finished, I was just, wow. With the warranty and everything, it just seemed silly not to go that route.
The ceramic coating of Rhino Shield is specifically formulated for our climate.
So the Rhino Shield crew came out. Nothing was damaged in the process. I was very happy. They just didn't leave a mess. You couldn't even tell they were there. And the house looked so different. It just looked like a new home.
Backed by a 25-year transferable warranty. And now get the protection of Rhino Shield for 15% off the regular price.
Rhino Shield, I think it increases the value and the curb appeal of your home. Definitely worth it.
Here's Rhino Shield's Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl.
Go Rhino.
Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
My name's Craig Landers. I'm a union laborer for Local 120, and I'm a member of the Veteran Steering Committee and been retired for 7 years.
For members of the Laborers International Union of North America, giving back is part of their commitment to the Indy community.
I like to help veterans and family downtown. Part of the building burnt down that housed the veterans that lived there. So we donated money to help out. They lost everything they had. I mean, they didn't have much, but they lost what they did have.
When the Indy community needs help, LIUNA steps up.
People bring in clothes and shoes and food. We had a couple car shows and donated the proceeds to the Veteran Suicide Prevention.
This is Chris Brickey, Business Manager of Labor's Local 120. While all our members are skilled, highly trained men and women, we are also your friends, neighbors, Little League coaches, and volunteers here in Indy.
Pretty good to help them guys out. And that's a good feeling to help people out.
We build Indy for good jobs and stronger communities. We are LIUNA Local 120.
So, where's the lake?
Not here.
But it says Great Lakes Honda of Fishers.
Right. I just don't see a lake.
Well, who needs a lake when you can lease a 2025 Accord SE for $329 a month and 0 down?
That definitely won't soak our bank account.
Oh, it's the old Honda of Fishers.
Great Lakes, great people, great cars.
But no actual lake. Visit our showroom off State Road 37 today. Tax and title fees not included with approved credit through Honda Financial. In-stock new Hondas only. Not combinable with other offers. Loyalty or conquest rebates may apply. Offer ends September 30th. See dealer for details.
It's JMV, and fall is in the air at Sundown Gardens in Westfield and Miss M's Home and Garden in Bargersville. Locally grown mums and pumpkins are everywhere, along with fall annuals and a wide selection of fall decor. Stop in this week to get your home beautified and in season for the cool days and crisp fall nights. Locally grown mums and pumpkins, plus fall annuals and decor, all at Sundown Gardens. Up north at 186th and Spring Mill Road in Westfield and Miss M's Home and Garden. State Road 135 just south of Whiteland Road in Bargersville.
Let's go! You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
We're all different. 1 in 5 of us live with a mental illness. Don't filter who you are. Talk to someone you trust. Learn more at bringchangetomind.org.
The Attorney General's office wants to put your money back in your pocket. Visit indianaunclaimed.gov and search for yourself, your loved ones, or your business. It's fast, easy, and free.
Tune in Saturdays 9 to 1 for the Home and Garden Show for advice and fun. Brought to you by Michaelis. Water, storms, fire, and wet basements. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it.
Reach your fitness goals in 2025 with a 20-minute once-a-week program at Exercise Inc. 5 locations now in Fishers. Visit exerciseinc.com.
Plumbing problems stink. The LD Smith Crew can handle anything. Call today for $50 off any plumbing repair, big or small.
LD Smith Plumbing.
A dirty, stinking honest.
Inside Indiana Business Radio, the news you need to get ahead. Indiana's business news leader, weekdays at 6:32 a.m. and 5:56 p.m. on WIBC.
This hour is powered by Sundown Gardens, Hamilton County's fall nursery headquarters.
Put your pinky rings up to the moon. Girls, what y'all trying to do?
Welcome back to the Tony Kinnett Cast. I'm Jerry Lopez. You can find me on X under Indy Spanglish. For those of you looking for Tony, he's doing a live stream on the Daily Signal. Pop over there after this show. But let's just get right into this. All right, it's the anniversary of 9/11. I was an active duty service member, counterterrorism analyst. And we all remember where we were at on September 11th. Okay, but it wasn't just an attack on buildings of steel and glass. It just wasn't about airplanes or terrorists from halfway around the world. All right, it was an assault on what those towers actually stood for. Right, it was about prosperity, freedom, American strength, American values. It was an attempt to shake us, to tell us we no longer have the right to live as people under the Constitution with our God-given rights. And when I look around today, I see another kind of attack. Okay, it's not with planes, it's not with fire raining from the sky, all right, but it's with slander, censorship, cancellation, intimidation, and as we saw yesterday, even violence. It's the exact same spirit that you don't have the right to think differently. You don't have the right to speak boldly. You don't have the right to stand up what you believe in. You don't have the right to exchange ideas. You don't have the right to do anything that soldiers have died for you to give. Think about what happened to Charlie Kirk yesterday. All right, he was murdered, assassinated, okay, for nothing more than exercising his rights as an American. For daring to say out loud what millions of us still believe. That kind of hatred just doesn't come from anywhere. All right, it doesn't come from just, some random place. Okay, it doesn't come from debate. All right, it comes from the same evil that fueled those men to fly planes into towers, to desire to silence us, to dominate, and to destroy our country. All right, now, the left today might dress it up with slogans like progress, equity, justice, but behind those banners and hashtags is the same hostility towards freedom, the same fear of truth being spoken without apology. Conservatives are painted as villains simply for holding up to values that built this country, right? Faith, family, hard work, limited government, the belief that our rights come not from Washington, D.C., but from God Almighty. And here's the chilling part. Think back to September 11th. Back then, on September 12th, right, we united against the threat. Democrats, Republicans, independents, black, white, Hispanic, everybody that day on September 12th, we were all Americans. We stood shoulder to shoulder as Americans. But what now? Now one half of the country is actively trying to destroy the other half. The attacks don't come from caves in Afghanistan now. They come from lecture halls, newsrooms, boardrooms, the media, even the steps of our own Capitol building. If 9/11 was a wake-up call about the vulnerability of our buildings, of our borders, of our planes, then today should be a wake-up call about the vulnerability of our freedoms. Because if we don't stand firm, if we don't say enough, then the America that those terrorists tried to bring down on 9/11, well, it's going to collapse anyway. Not from bombs, not from hijackings, but from division, censorship, and a cowardly refusal to defend the truth. We can't let the sacrifice of the past be in vain. And we can't let the silencing of conservatives today continue to succeed. The fight it isn't even political anymore. It's spiritual. It's about the soul of America. And I, for one, refuse to surrender it. This is a country that I fought for. And if speaking up and speaking my beliefs and trying to raise my kids with morality ends up costing me my life, then that's a price that I'm ready to pay. I am fine, but I don't want my children to have to live in a world that's full of this evil that we see every day. If you know me, you know that what Charlie Kirk did every day at college campuses is the exact same thing that I do every time I go play darts. I show up. I'm a brown conservative. My mom's from Cuba. I want to talk to you about how I'm not a victim, how you can be anything you want to be in this world. How, regardless of the fact that my mom couldn't speak English, I had a damn good parent that made sure I succeeded in school, and it was important to her. She picked me up. She made me empowered. She made me independent. She made me a free thinker. And that's very dangerous to those on the left that want to control you, that want to teach your kids, don't try, you're a victim. And that's what cost Charlie Kirk his life. I'll let Charlie Kirk tell you what he wanted to do. What was Charlie Kirk, his goal?
I go around universities and have challenging conversations, and because that's what is so important to our country, is to find our disagreements respectfully, because when people stop talking, that's when violence happens.
I've never seen someone do this.
Well, it's a growing trend because people like me are facing violence, assaults. The left. Yes, the campus Antifa. I've been stormed out of restaurants. I've been assaulted publicly, multiple death threats.
Okay, so what's your goal in all this?
There's more people that agree with me than some people would actually believe, and they come out of the woodwork when I do stuff like this. We record all of it so that we put it on the internet so people can see these ideas collide. When people stop talking, that's when you get violence. That's when civil war happens, because you start to think the other side is so evil and they lose their humanity.
And this is why the conversations are so important. When we look at our politics, when we look at the landscape of politics, a couple years ago we had Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump, essentially socialism and the monopoly guy. And those were our options. And we painted the other side as this villain, when in the reality, most of us are just left of right or center. We just disagree on a couple of things fundamentally. But they don't want us to have that conversation, because guess what? If we find out we have more things in common than we don't, well, then we stop looking at each other and we start looking at Washington. And we start looking at our leaders, and we start saying, you know what? Maybe they are the 1%. All of them. We have to continue to have these conversations. And now is not the time to be afraid. On September 12th, after the 9/11 attacks, I was so proud to be an American. That is my country. I will fight. I will die for my country, for what it believed, or what I believe, what my country stands for. People aren't coming to America because it sucks. They're coming to America for what it stands for. And if you're not willing to fight for that, then what are you willing to fight for? We cannot let this scare us. Continue to use your voice. Continue to praise the Lord. Continue to debate people. They might have taken out Charlie Kirk, but guess what? They energized me, and hopefully they energized you. Somebody's got to pick up the microphone and keep the conversation going. I don't want today to turn into a national day of depression. I've been saying this all day. I was in active duty service when 9/11 happened. Trust me, I appreciate everybody looking back and going, we remember what happened. But everybody that gave their lives wants you to pick up and keep moving forward with your American way of life. So we're going to have Curtis Hill come on the next segment. And in the fourth segment, we're going to have a little bit of fun. We're going to do Hold the L. We're going to do IBSU Not. We're going to end it the way that the show should be ended, because guess what? This is America, and I'm not scared. So come back to 93.1 WIBC.
Don Fisher for QC Kinetics. I was struggling with chronic knee pain and wasn't encouraged with the options of risky surgery and pain pills. QC Kinetics offered the best option for me, cutting-edge regenerative medicine. Their non-invasive treatment stimulated my body's own biologics so I could be pain-free and get back to doing what I love, playing golf. QC Kinetics has a fantastic success rate, and it's clear to see why so many Hoosiers are happy to tell their story of how they reclaimed their lives with the QC Kinetics approach. Ready to live your life pain-free? Go to QCkinetics.com/Indianapolis or call 317-559-PAIN and get a no-obligation consultation. QC Kinetics uses the latest technologies, whether it's stem cell, PRP, plasma, or a number of other advanced therapies. Call QC Kinetics. It'll be the best call you will make. Get back in the game, whatever that is for you. Call 317-559-PAIN.
Everybody knows Hubler's got the best warranty around. 10 years, 200,000 miles. But did you know? Now you can get that same limited powertrain warranty on new Toyotas. Introducing the all-new Hubler Toyota. Get grand opening savings all month long. And right now, save on new Toyota trucks with low APR financing, including 2025 Tacomas with 3.99% or Tundras, just 1.75 APR for 72 months.
Hubler's got you covered.
At the all-new Hubler Toyota on US 31 South in Indianapolis. Visit HublerToyota.com. Grand opening savings and the best warranty around. 10 years, 200,000 miles.
Cover me!
Select models, approved credit, plus tax tag title license, 249 dealer doc. Tacoma monthly payment for 60 months, 1841 and Tundra 1464 per thousand financed. Expires 9/30.
When you own a business, it feels like everything's on you. Orders, deliveries, employees, on you. That's why Comcast Business is giving you a year of mobile on us with your internet service. Really? Yep. We'll cover your first line of mobile for 1 year. So calling customers, getting directions, texting Janine and shipping, on us. The broken coffee maker? That one's still on you, which means you'll save hundreds for your business and get the fastest mobile service with 5G cellular and Wi-Fi hotspots, on us. But hurry, this deal won't last long. Get a mobile plan and free up the budget to maybe, I don't know, fix that coffee maker? Get mobile on us for 1 year, you guessed it, on us. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Ends 10/9/25. Restrictions apply. New mobile customers only with internet standard service or above. Limited to value of one unlimited intro line apply via 12 monthly internet bill credits. One discount per account. Fastest mobile based on mobile Wi-Fi and cellular data in service areas. Ookla Speed Test Intelligence 2H24.
At Duke Energy, we're making Indiana's energy grid stronger and more resilient, ready for storms and for our region's growing energy demands. We're upgrading nearly 20,000 poles, adding more power to the Indiana grid, and using new innovations to assess damage more quickly, speeding our response to storms. We're also modernizing the energy grid with self-healing technology to automatically reroute power around damage to help restore outages faster, sometimes in less than a minute. And we're using smart technology to give you more insight on the energy you use at home to help you save. Daily usage charts on our website or mobile app. Usage alerts and home energy reports to keep you in the know. And we're committed to doing everything we do in cost-efficient ways so we can keep bills as low as possible while we serve you with reliable energy when you need us most. Duke Energy, building a smarter energy future. Paid for by Duke Energy shareholders.
Indy Humane, committed to helping Central Indiana's pets in need since 1905. Find your new best friend today. IndyHumane.org.
Welcome back to the Tony Kinnett Cast. I'm Jerry Lopez. You can find me on X at Indy Spanglish. We're joined by a guest. He comes back a lot. We have great conversations with him. He has great insight. This is the 43rd Attorney General of the state of Indiana. He's a lawyer, consultant, speaker, friend of mine. Curtis, how's it going?
Jerry, how you doing, buddy?
Not too bad, not too bad. So complete transparency, we'd been texting about what we were going to talk about, and we got thrown a huge curveball yesterday, unfortunately. So let's just get right into it. I would like to get your thoughts on what happened yesterday with the Charlie Kirk assassination. How did we get here as a country? I mean, we've had 2 attempts on Trump, now a successful attempt on Charlie Kirk, and it's a little bit different because this is a civilian who is now being shot for doing nothing but exercising his First Amendment rights. How did we get here?
Well, we got here because we have a people in this nation that have allowed evil to incorporate their soul. I mean, that's all you can say. Anybody who can take an action like that just because someone shares a different ideology is pure evil. And that's where our battle is. We have to find ways. I've seen people say, what do we do about the violence? The thing to do about the violence is to turn to the Lord, to turn to God, and we have to go to war. Not with the manifestations of evil here on earth, but we have to go to war spiritually to turn our hearts and minds back to God and back to peace. And this is a perfect example of what the problems are that we're facing, particularly coming from the left, because the left is absolutely out of control. If they can't win in a debate, they choose violence, and they're being successful in snuffing out some of our brighter hopes.
Well, and my problem is this. The conservatives are bad at offense. Okay, if this was the other way around and this was a liberal commenter, I guarantee the streets would be filled with people chanting for any kind of justice. And as conservatives, we naturally follow the law, right? We don't really participate in groupthink. We're independent, and it's really hard to galvanize us and get us going in a direction. And I think the murder of Charlie Kirk sets a new precedent. I have not seen this many people this fired up. This is completely different for people like me, people like you. I mean, people don't like what you're saying. People don't like what I say. People don't like say what Rob Kendall says. And for the first time in my life, I am maybe a little concerned about these weirdos because the left is really good at rhetoric. You can't call somebody a Nazi and talk about the destruction of democracy for 10 years and not expect some wacko on your side to think they're doing something good.
Well, you know, the idea of this country of being a nation of freedom and free speech and debate, it only survives if we're able to do so in a manner that allows us to have a strong argument and then peaceably go about our business. That's how this country was formed. That's how we go forward. You know, Charlie Kirk was a young man, a 31-year-old man, young enough to be my son. That's an incredible loss. Not to mention he's brilliant. You don't have to agree with Charlie. I didn't agree with everything Charlie did or how he did everything, but I had a tremendous amount of respect for Charlie. I had a chance to meet him a few times. He was brilliant. He was courageous. He had a plan and he stuck to it, and he offered opportunities to debate, to prove him wrong. And in many instances, and I watched several of those debates, he was fascinating. His command of history, his command of politics was second to none. And so it's a tremendous loss. And how do we bounce back from these types of losses? At what point do we draw a line in the sand and say enough is enough? And how do we present ourselves as conservatives when we're being attacked in such a way, in such a violent way? The danger is, do we have some of our champions backing away, taking the bait and saying, well, I can't go forward and speak my mind because some whack job is going to be gunning for me? I think that's a part of the nature of the business that we're in. There are whack jobs out there. There's 350 million people in this country. It only takes a handful of whack jobs to disrupt us in such a manner. And I, for one, don't want to pack away our freedom out of fear that these folks are winning.
Well, if we decide to stop talking, then they win. That's the whole point.
That's it.
If we look at it, yes, it was unfortunate. It was a horrific thing. The man was assassinated by my account. That's domestic terrorism. All right, it was politically motivated. But the message is sent to people. Don't go out and talk.
If you don't shut up, we will shut you up.
And if we can touch Charlie, we can touch you.
Well, and that's the tragic reality of freedom. You know, people say, well, he should have more security. Look, if someone is willing to die, if someone is willing to get caught, if you really want to hurt someone, if you really want to go after somebody, all the security in the world can't stop it. That's why we have to get to the nature and the root of this problem of evil. And work some miracles in terms of the hearts of men.
You know, I think we've had this conversation before, but should political affiliation or politics be a protected class at this point?
Well, from my standpoint, I want to do away with protected classes altogether. In one sense, you could say, well, the politicians or political thought is under attack, and so therefore we protect it. But part of the problem that we have in this country is that we already have too many protected classes. We're a country, a nation founded on equal justice for all. And the protected class status, while intended to be a solution to some of the problems faced in the black community from the legacy of slavery and integration, segregation, it's been a colossal failure. And part of the reason that it's failed is because we've taken this approach of making everybody a protected class. So we've extended the protected class status so much that nobody's protected because everybody's protected. Perfect example is women, protected class. Now trans women are protected classes. So what do you do when you have a conflict between a trans woman, which is a biological male pretending to be a woman, and a woman? We've got these conflicts of interest because we have too many protected classes. So the short answer to your question is no, we don't need any more protected classes. What we need to do is make sure that we find ways in which to turn our evil inward and walk a new path to get past all of these evil actions.
And to that point, murder is already illegal, right? So it wouldn't have mattered if this was protected class or not, right? And protected class kind of goes against the theory of equality, right? If you're a protected class, then you're not equal.
Well, the bottom line is when you murder someone, it's sort of like hate crimes. We've dealt with this issue in the past where we need to have hate crimes. We need to be able to establish that the crime was committed because of hate. Well, the crime is murder, and the fact that someone killed someone is in and of itself a horrible thing. Now, it can be certainly worse or made worse by virtue of someone hating you, but the bottom line is you've committed an evil act of murder, and we don't need to burden the prosecutor and attorney to have to prove that what the thought was behind it. We want to keep that as straightforward as possible, and I think we need to make for sure that we focus on what it is about these people that makes them not want to engage in debate, but want to turn to violence.
And you mentioned earlier, turning our eyes north and to God. And President Trump has launched an America Prays initiative. Just want to see what you feel about that, where he's kind of saying, hey, take some time and just pray for the country, pray for your family, kind of the focus back on religion as a country from the top executive.
Well, I think it's fantastic because if you look back at historically where we've been as a nation, we can actually go back 60-some years to the Supreme Court's removal of prayer in the school as the beginning of the degradation of our society. Everything that's been going on in the last 60 years has been the result of a godless nation. And efforts to turn back to God are very legitimate, very real, very needed to get people back on a path of peaceful living, living to love your neighbor, love your enemy as your neighbor. And it's history. If you look at all of the problems that we've had in the 60s and 70s, these are folks who don't believe in God. Or if they claim to believe in God, they don't understand what God's about, because God is not about evil. God is not about murder. God is not about violent crimes and violent offenses against your neighbor. So turning back to God, turning back to prayer in particular, is the focus that this nation needs. And I applaud the president for having the stones. And it takes stones to be supportive of any type of prayer or initiative to put prayer back in school. We need to get kids understanding at an early age that there is a higher power, a higher authority, a higher purpose, and our schools should be a place where children should be able to worship freely and exercise that freedom on a regular basis.
What do you say to people that woke up today and they're just scared? Conservatives that we're under attack, they're worried. You see people online cheering the death of him, whether it's people running for office or business owners or even your neighbor, saluting this guy's death. What do you say to fellow conservatives that are just lost right now?
Well, this unfortunately, this is not something new. This is a part of the game we're in, because we're dealing with a group of individuals, of people who are mad. And I say mad in the sense of crazy. They're out there. We can't back down. We can't back up. We have to try to understand how we go forward and pick up the pieces. But the last thing that needs to happen is that we don't have any more Charlie Kirks coming out and challenging our thought process and challenging our world point of view.
Yeah, that's exactly what the left wants right now, is to shut us all up.
They want to shut you down. They want to shut you up. They want to shut you down. And then they want to take over. So it's important to use a moment like this and Charlie's death as a galvanizing moment in terms of what we need to do as conservatives to show strength and to keep marching forward.
Yep. Hey, I appreciate you joining us. If people want to find out more about you or just connect with you on social media or just find out what your thoughts are, how do they get a hold of you?
CurtisHill.com. There'll be information there on how to find me. Different articles I've written, and even submission on if you want me to speak or to connect. CurtisHill.com.
Awesome. Hey, I appreciate it. Say hi to the family and stay safe out there.
Thanks, Jerry. Take care, buddy.
Bye. This is the Tony Kinnett Cast. We'll be back shortly. We have Hold the L's coming up. We got IBSU Knots coming up, and that's a doozy. Let's end with some laughs. Let's have some fun. Let's keep it American. We're not scared. It's the Tony Kinnett Cast on WIBC.
You let him try violin because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more at nhtsa.gov/the-right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Without an Advent clinic nearby, people suffering needlessly from chronic nasal congestion and sinus infections would be stuck with either Band-Aid or sledgehammer solutions. Band-Aids are pills or nasal sprays, and they're not true solutions. Surgery is a sledgehammer, and that's what we're trying to avoid. Because most people don't need surgery for nose and sinus issues, nor do they want a 14-day recovery. Our unique Advent approach can, in 20 minutes in our office, open your blocked nose for good, with only 1-day recovery. I'm Advent founder Dr. Kandula. Outside of Advent's four walls, invasive surgery is what they'll recommend. But here you will find effective and convenient in-office solutions to help you stop the need for Band-Aids and avoid the sledgehammer.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. Most insurance accepted.
Everyone's talking about Galaxy Concrete Coatings and their transformation, like your neighbor Jerry.
When we first started looking for different options, we went to the internet. Really, we did choose Galaxy, and definitely happy that we did. We first had our front porch and our pool deck done. Decided we loved it so much, we had them out about 10, 11 months later to finish up and do our back porch.
Commercial or residential, 4 times stronger than epoxy, and it comes with a lifetime warranty.
The crews at Galaxy were great. They actually cared about my property, very punctual, knowledgeable, and just a great group of workers.
Galaxy Concrete Coatings works for any area like patios, garage floors, driveways, and around pools.
I'm 100% satisfied. It's not slippery and it's not hot. I was very impressed with the product. It's amazing that I don't burn my feet and my 6-year-old doesn't fall.
Click on GalaxyConcreteCoatings.com and remember to like us on Facebook, GalaxyConcreteCoatings.com. We are out of this world.
Some things can steal your sunshine. Ugh, I just got my hair done.
Sorry, the cooler's broken. Anyone see my flip-flops? Anyone?
But COVID-19 can steal a lot more.
I just took a COVID test. Ugh.
Prescription medications for COVID exist. If you test positive this summer, ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com/COVID-19 to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Teachers shape the future. Right now, in a classroom somewhere in the United States, there's a teacher inspiring a future scientist who'll make preventing pandemics their life's work. Sharpening the mind of an aspiring environmentalist who'll help combat climate change. And generating possibilities for a student who'll be the first in their family to graduate college. Explore a career that leaves a legacy you can be proud of. Teach. Learn more and receive free support at teach.org.
Fall is in full swing at Sundown Gardens. Locally grown mums and pumpkins plus fall annuals and decor. 186th Street, Spring Mill Road in Westfield. It's sundown.gardens.com.
To protect his family from disaster, Steve used his camera phone.
Done.
By taking pictures of his important documents, Steve can always have them stored online. Learn more simple disaster prep tips at ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the Tony Kinnett Cast. This is the end, but let's have some fun. We're not going to have a National Day of Depression on my watch. My name's Jerry Lopez. You can find me on X at Indy Spanglish. I'm kind of old school. AOL is going away, so let's use it one last time. Let's take a trip around the internet real quick. President Trump announced today that he is going to be awarding Charlie Kirk the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Great news, probably a long time coming. Let's hear from the president.
Again, let me express the horror and grief so many Americans at the heinous assassination of Charlie Kirk have felt. Charlie was a giant of his generation, a champion of liberty, and an inspiration to millions and millions of people. Our prayers are with his wonderful wife, Eric, and his beautiful children. Fantastic people they are. We miss him greatly, yet I have no doubt that Charlie's voice and the courage he put into the hearts of countless people, especially young people, will live on. I'm pleased to announce that I will soon be awarding Charlie Kirk posthumously the Presidential Medal of Freedom. The date of the ceremony will be announced, and I can only guarantee you one thing, that we will have a very big crowd. Very, very big.
Mark Cuban recently appeared on a stage with Tucker Carlson talking about we need to do stuff for Ukraine, we need to help Ukraine. And Tucker Carlson kind of had a drop the mic moment, shut Mark Cuban up real quick.
Mark, let me ask you a question. What's your take on whether we should be sending money to Ukraine or not? Were you in favor of that?
Man, they need it.
I mean, honestly, I don't have a good answer. You know, I can make an argument both ways, and half my family is Ukrainian from my grandparents. And so, you know, personally, I think we should help, but I don't have a studied answer for you.
How much money have you sent to Ukraine?
None.
Oh, so what do you mean by we? You're the one whose family's from Ukraine. Like, why don't you send them $1 billion?
Because I'm trying to fix health care.
Why don't you fix their health care if you're like so deep? If you think we need to help, why don't you start? How about you first? Yeah. I notice that's never like even an option for anybody. It's like, we need to help. That's not what charity is. Forcing other people to help is not charity.
Here's the good
vanity.
News. The good news is all the weapons were on loan lease. We're getting it back. And our dear President Trump has negotiated that we own half the minerals. So he turned this horrible tragedy of a war into a profit center, which is one of his unique gifts.
Yeah, why don't you help, Mark Cuban, Mr. Billionaire? You haven't sent the dollar over there yet? I mean, come on with the jokes. All right, so our favorite segment, my favorite segment, Hold the L. I like to give this out anytime I'm hosting. It's basically for the dumbest comment, the biggest loser. And this one, the person's not going to surprise you. What will surprise you is this an elected member of Congress. All right, this is Jasmine Crockett possibly saying the dumbest thing that you've heard this year.
I want to be clear that, like, law enforcement isn't to prevent crime. Law enforcement solves crime, okay? That is what they're supposed to do. They are supposed to solve crimes, not necessarily prevent them from happening.
I mean, that's got to be the dumbest comment that I have ever heard. Law enforcement isn't to prevent crime. What an idiot. Congratulations, Jasmine Crockett. You get to hold today's L. All right, you want to see how ridiculous our neighbor to the north is, all right? So Canada has outlawed carrying anything for self-defense beyond a whistle or a noisemaker, but now they've taken it a step further. A city has banned home security cameras that view or listen beyond the perimeter of your own property.
Week Miles received an order to comply with the city's fortification bylaw, asking him to remove his cameras. The bylaw says homeowners are not permitted to view or listen beyond the perimeters of their own property.
A notice from bylaw, I thought, how could this be? Everybody has Ring doorbell cameras pointed at the street and city property, and my neighbors have cameras pointed at my house, and we all...
The city of Hamilton has confirmed the order to remove the cameras to CHCH News.
I mean, you can only have cameras that go up to your own property. I mean, that's got to be the most ridiculous thing. But hold my beer. The Canadian police chief said this after a man was murdered during a home invasion.
In the unlikely event that you find yourself the victim of a home invasion, we are urging citizens not to take matters into their own hands. While we don't want homeowners to feel powerless, we urge you to call 911 and do everything you can to keep yourself and loved ones safe until police arrive and be the best witness possible. This could mean locking yourself in a room away from the perpetrators, hiding, fleeing the home, but don't engage unless absolutely necessary. But as it stands, we know the best defense for most people is to comply, as you've just heard, a number of safety recommendations.
The best defense is just to comply. But I don't know if you heard that Freudian slip there probably in the first 20 seconds. Allison, let's start it again. I'll tell you when to stop. But there's a Freudian slip when he says, we don't want homeowners to feel, and then he almost said what he was thinking.
In the unlikely event that you find yourself the victim of a home invasion, we are urging citizens not to take matters into their own hands. While we don't want homeowners to feel
There you
powerless.
Go. We don't want homeowners to feel powerful, right? Your best option is to comply, right? That would never happen here in America, and I don't know if you've seen that sheriff in the South who goes, listen, if somebody breaks in, kill him, we'll just pick up the body, right? But reminds me of something that I heard as a kid. If the world goes down, well, we know who to blame.
Times have changed. Our kids are getting worse. They won't obey their parents. They just want to fart and curse.
Should we blame the government or blame society?
Or should we blame the images on TV?
No, blame Canada. Blame Canada. For their beady little eyes and flapping heads are full of lies. Blame Canada. Blame Canada. We need to form a full assault.
Blame Canada. All right, so we're going to end this with the IBSU nod. I want you to remember this story. Every time you hear there is no voter fraud. There's never been a case of voter fraud. We don't need voter ID. That's all a lie. That's never happened. Well, listen to this story. A Costa Mesa woman is facing felony charges for allegedly registering her dog to vote and using the pet's name to vote in 2 elections. All right, so this is Laura Yorek. She's 62. She's accused of using her dog's name to vote in 2021, the California gubernatorial recall election, and the 2022 primary. And this is from the Orange County District Office. Mail-in ballots were used to cast votes. All right, the 2021 vote was successfully counted for the dog, but the vote in 22 was rejected. All right, now prosecutors say that she posted a photo on social media. This is how stupid this lady is, all right? She posted a photo on social media in January of 2022 of her dog Maya wearing an I voted sticker and posing with her ballot. All right? She's also accused of now this is even funnier, all right? She's accused of posting a photo in October 2024 that shows Maya's dog tag and a vote-by-mail ballot with the caption that says, Maya's still getting her ballot, even though the dog passed away. Swallow that, right? IBSU not. That's a true story. Man, I have had a blast with you guys tonight. I will be hosting again tomorrow. Listen, don't forget what America stands for. She's worth fighting for. Our rights, our freedoms. And if not for us, then for our kids. My name's Jerry Lopez. I hope you have a great Thursday night. I'll see you tomorrow on the Tony Kinnett Cast. I'm out of here. It's 93.1 WIBC.
Hello, my name is Nate Clancy. I'm with Labor's Local 120. I've been with Labor's Local 120 for over 40 years now.
For members of Labor's International Union of North America, giving back is part of their commitment to the Indy community, like helping the Soapbox Derby.
We painted the bridge. The Wilkershaw Bridge is an iconic bridge for the Soapbox Derby. It's been there forever. It was, needing work.
When Indy or surrounding communities need help, LIUNA steps up.
Members that went over there, we seen that it was needing work, power washed, done the painting, just anything that was needed, and it looks amazing now.
This is Chris Brickey, business manager of Labor's Local 120. While all our members are skilled, highly trained men and women, we are also your friends, neighbors, Little League coaches, and volunteers here in Indy.
Here at the local, I like volunteering in the community. Just every little bit helps. I really got a real joy in doing that.
We build Indy for